It is the last month without college football until February of 2025. And with that, we bring in a brand new week of Village Vice. He's Zach Blackerby. I'm Brad Law. And with all the optimism that comes from July, I don't know, Zach, does July feel different to you than June when it comes to excitement about the season? I know we're only like a day closer than we were yesterday when it was June.
Sure.
But the calendar saying July, to me, provides a little something extra, a little boost.
Yeah, you get to say college football's next month. You get to say SEC media days are this month. Sure. I think it changes the wording of some of these things. It makes it feel closer, no question.
Yeah. Well, so with that, and there's a lot of optimism because nobody's taken a loss yet. And all the coaches in 2 weeks will go to Dallas and they'll talk about why their team is going to go 12-0 or something like that anyway at media days. So with that, On3 today put out their SEC coaches hot seat rankings. And they have Auburn's Hugh as the 6th most secure coach in the SEC.
Okay.
Which makes sense. Like there shouldn't be a great deal. Like that seat, we shouldn't be talking about a hot seat going into year 2, given what we've seen off the field to this point. Like there's a major difference between the feeling going into 2022 with that coaching staff and the feeling in 2024.
Yeah, there's this weird storyline that other fan bases love to push is that Auburn fires coaches too quickly. And that's crap. Like that's not true. The Brian Harsin situation was an awful situation. It was a worst case scenario, and Auburn had to get out of it because sure, he was only here for a season and a half, but it set the program back several years more than that just because of how bad and how neglectful the job he did was for making sure the program stayed afloat. I mean, I think there's several people that would say that Gus Malzahn stuck around too long. I think there's several folks that think, maybe the Tuberville era lasted a little bit longer than it did. I mean, Auburn doesn't fire coaches quickly. We've seen that. So the fact of the matter is, despite what many other fan bases say, Auburn's not going to get rid of Hugh Freeze after this season.
Yeah. With that said, let's kind of get into some of these rankings because have you seen the list? Did you pull up the list?
No. I want you to break it down for me.
Who would you guess? Who would be your hottest seat in the SEC, Zach?
Florida.
Okay. They have Billy Napier at number 2 on their list. And, it's been well documented. That schedule is brutal. They need early momentum. They need to stockpile enough wins before November rolls around, before Halloween rolls around.
Yeah.
Because, man, the back half of that schedule is really, really rough. And
yeah, I mean, the front part of it's not really easy either. Opening things up with some of that depends on what you think about Miami. That's their opening game, right? Yeah. So some of it depends on that. But yeah, I mean, it's tough throughout.
Miami at home, Samford at home, Texas A&M at home, Mississippi State on the road. Yeah. You could, it's conceivable you could start that 3-1 and get a little momentum going into the last of the month. All right. Number 1 on the list, if not Florida, then who do you think?
Is there an obvious one I'm just blanking on?
I don't know that it's obvious.
Vandy?
I mean, no, it's not Vandy. It's Arkansas. They have Sam Pittman.
Okay.
This is Jesse Simonton, by the way, from On3. It's his list that he put together. Let's give proper credit. They have Sam Pittman number 1 on the list.
All right. I mean, do I think he'll be there next year? No. So, that makes sense.
All right. They're open, by the way. Little Rock, Oklahoma State, UAB, Auburn on the road, Texas A&M in Arlington, Tennessee at home.
Yeah, they may win 2 of those.
It's very hard, isn't it, to get any momentum going with these schedules. It reminds me a little bit of Auburn baseball this past year in that the front half of your schedule, anybody in the SEC, man, if you lose 3-4 in a row, it's hard to look forward and have the same enthusiasm about the last half of the season that you have in the first half.
Mm-hmm. No question about it. Yeah. Fun spinoff question.
Yeah.
If Arkansas loses to OK State, which I don't think is a stretch, and what if UAB were to beat them? Is there any kind of scenario where he's fired after the Auburn game? Or is that too early and expectations are so low anyway, they just let it ride out?
That's a good question.
He's one of their own, right?
Yeah. That's a good question. After Auburn, it's Texas A&M and Tennessee. And then it's a bye week. I'm more inclined to think that it's the bye week, that it's that first open date.
Yeah, that probably makes sense.
So their open date's right in the middle. That first open date anyway, right in the middle, October 12th. So kind of a fun question we might get to at the end. Who is the first SEC coach that is out of a job this year?
Oh, yeah, it's probably Pittman. Yeah, I mean, he should rightfully be number one. I just forgot about Arkansas.
Yeah, Florida's open date is earlier. If they stumble and if they're 1-3 going into their September 28th open date, maybe not.
I think his buyout is more though, so they may let him finish the year. I don't fully know the contract situation of all of these coaches, but my guess is because he signed an extension, right? So I mean, he's due money, so they may ride that one out.
Maybe so. Money is always interesting in these conversations, though, because it's monopoly money. It's not
and for some schools more than others, no question.
That's right. Okay, before I tell you about number 3 on the list, and I think it's of particular interest. It's an intriguing conversation point. Let me tell you about Roback. Your shirts will be an intriguing conversation point when you buy a polo from Roback, one of those, wild, unique. The lobster is back, by the way. And if you go, what are you talking about? Go to roback.com, search the polo prints, find something that's to your liking. If you like the zany, unique kind of styles, they've got them for you. If you like the more traditional styles, they've got those as well. They're comfortable. They look great, feel great. And you get 20% off when you use our promo code at checkout. That's Vice20. Use the promo code Vice20 at checkout. You get 20% off at roback.com. They have more than just polos, as you know, if you're a frequent villager. They have hoodies. They have quarter zips. They have T-shirts, shorts, hats. They've got it all at roback.com.
Sported the quarter zip, the Roback quarter zip pullover for the first time yesterday. It was my birthday, and I'm like, I deserve to look good and to feel good. Sported it at church, got some comments on it. So yeah, just probably assumed, but just giving the endorsement for the Roback quarter zip.
There you go. Check it all out. You'll be glad you did. Number 3 on Jesse Simonton's On3 hot seat rankings as we open the month of July. Alabama coach Kalen DeBoer is number 3 on the list. He is on a hotter seat than Clark Lee. He's on a hotter seat than Shane Beamer. He's on a hotter seat than every other coach except for Sam Pittman and Billy Napier.
Wow.
Yep.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I mean, I think if the hot seat is, okay, what are your chances that you're not here next year? That's kind of what I'm thinking. And like Pittman, probably not at Arkansas next year. Napier, probably not at Florida next year. I just don't see a realistic world. I mean, sure, if Alabama were to go 6-6 or something, but that's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen.
Okay.
And so I have a hard time buying that seat. If you want to put him in the top half just because of, the expectations are so high, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And I think there are some coaches.
What's your confidence level that Shane Beamer is going to be at South Carolina next year? What's your confidence level that Vanderbilt is still going to have Clark Lee next year? It's like, it might be high, but it's like Caleb DeBoer is more likely to be at Bama next year than those coaches at their respective schools.
Yeah, I get that. But I go back to the question, does it like 6-6, he's out after 1 year. 6-6.
But that's not going to happen.
Okay. It's not real. It's not likely. It's possible. It's not likely. Does 8-4? How much consternation, how much wringing of the hands is there? And how much are they talking about it after 8-4? Is it like the Democratic National Convention where it's like, well, should he or shouldn't he? Or is it, oh no, it's fine. Everything, it's just a dip. It should be expected. Is that the spin? Or like at 8-4, which is, it's more possible than 6-6.
It is more possible than 6-6, but I still don't think 8-4 is likely.
You don't look at their schedule and think they've got 4 like better than 50% possibility losses.
Who are they? Who are the 4 losses that you think are over 50% for Bama?
50% or close anyway.
Sure. Toss up.
I think Wisconsin is a toss up.
No way they lose that
in
game.
Madison at 11 o'clock in the morning.
No, Wisconsin can't win a big game to save their life.
Okay. Georgia.
Sure. They'll lose against Georgia.
Tennessee and Knoxville, where they lost last time.
No way.
You're not even
I just don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Okay. They lost last time with way more star power than they'll have this time. Okay.
Well, Tennessee had a lot more star power too.
That's fair. Same with LSU, but that's in Baton Rouge again where they lost last time.
It also took everything. I mean, that was a crazy game.
Sure.
It's not like they went up there and got whooped. You know what I mean?
Okay. But LSU? Baton Rouge?
I think LSU and Oklahoma are the 2 most overrated teams in the SEC going into next season.
So you won't give me Oklahoma as even plausible. It's not even plausible.
No. No, okay. They're not going to be able to block them.
Okay. Well, I mean, all right. Fair enough. That's why we love this show. It's one opinion and another. So
if Alabama didn't win 10 games next year, I would be shocked.
All right, but what if they don't? If they go 8-4?
They go 8-4, it does get interesting.
Yeah.
It does. I don't think they'd fire him though. But man, it's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. What if they have 4 losses before Auburn goes to Tuscaloosa?
Not going to happen, but that'd be wild.
What if 2 8-win teams get together in Tuscaloosa?
I don't think that's going to happen.
I understand. I just said, what if?
It'd be insane. It would be insane.
Yeah. All right.
Be insane. You know what else is insane? is not hanging out with our friends at mybookie.ag. Yeah. Look, going to the casino is cool and all, but you could just do it from the comfort of your own home, whether it's your desk or on your laptop while you're watching your favorite movies or TV shows, whatever it is. Just head over to mybookie.ag. They've got everything that you want, from different types of slots, as well as live dealer action if you want to play blackjack or any other type of cards there. They've also got a great sports book, so be sure to check them out at mybookie.ag. Use promo code NEXTROUND. You'll get a slew of VIP options when you use the promo code NEXTROUND, as well as some extra money to play with. So mybookie.ag, use promo code NEXTROUND.
Do it. You'll be glad that you did. All right. After Kalen DeBoer at number 3 on this On3 Jesse Simonton Coach's Hot Seat rankings, number 4 is Clark Lee at Vanderbilt.
Okay. I guessed him, I think. So, yeah. That makes sense.
They win an SEC game. Missouri, Alabama, Kentucky, and Lexington, Texas, Auburn, South Carolina at home, LSU, Tennessee.
South Carolina's their chance, right? Yeah. That's their chance.
Yep. Number 5 on the list, speaking of, is Shane Beamer. He's 5th.
I think he should be higher. I think he should be higher than Clark Lee and Kalen DeBoer. I think he should be number 3.
They start with Old Dominion at home. Then they go to Kentucky. They host LSU, host Akron. They host Ole Miss. They go to Alabama. They go to Oklahoma. And that's before they get to November.
Yeah, they'll have 2 wins there.
Yeah, and Spencer Rattler's gone.
Right.
So, all right. The rest of, I think the next group, Zach, kind of all like 6, 7, and 8, Brian Kelly, Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin. It's hard to imagine a world where anybody out of that trio is out of a job next year.
Sark and Kiffin are that high?
Yeah, I think that has to be. And Jesse's got an article that kind of lays all these out. I didn't read it. I mean, it was posted 4 minutes before we started today's show. But I would imagine a lot of this is expectation based. If Texas goes 7-5 or LSU, if either of those 3 go like 7-5, then there's pressure, but I don't think anybody's out of a job after 7-5. Would Ole Miss part with Lane if they go 7-5?
No.
So
there's no, and they know that like Lane Kiffin is their best option. Yeah. And he's been great there. So there's no way.
So I don't think anybody else on the list is even, I don't think there's a scenario shy of just a total collapse that nobody would see coming.
They have Sark and Kiffin as higher on the hot seat than Freeze.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think they're all in the same tier. Like, I don't think any of them are going anywhere. It's just interesting how they laid it out.
Correct. 9 is Kirby. 10 is Eli Drinkwitz. None of these guys are under extreme pressure. This is just, you got to rank them. If you're going to rank 1 through 16.
How is Kirby not the safest?
That's a great question. I don't know. Because you also, if you marry it with the schedule and you marry it with the team, you can't realistically see any cracks. You can't, there's not like a pillar you like, oh, that's pretty shaky. If that falls, this whole thing could collapse.
Yeah. Drinkwitz safer than Kirby. Okay.
By 1.
I know expectations are different at those two schools, but
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Hugh Freeze at 11. Mark Stoops at 12, which is a little interesting to me that they have Kirby on a hotter seat than Stoops.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they're just banking on Kentucky not caring, which is probably true.
Fair. They've got a new basketball coach. They're fired up still about that.
Yep.
Then Josh Heupel, 13. Brent Venables, 14. Jeff Levy, 15. Mike Elko, 16. I think, as we have talked before, Venables is a really interesting one because he made up a lot of ground in year 2 at Oklahoma.
Right.
We talked last week on a couple of shows that if they have a couple things bounce the other way for them, they could look at a real slide. And that could crank up the pressure. And these rankings obviously look different from year to year, but if they're 6-6, he ain't 14th on that list. If they're 6-6,
I think he just signed an extension too. So that Jesse probably mentions that in the article. But they, I don't think it's crazy to say that Oklahoma starts 0-3 in conference play, and that fan base flips out.
Yeah. Tennessee, Auburn, Texas. So their first 3.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, their games before that are Temple, Houston, and Tulane.
Yeah, they're tricky. That Houston one is very interesting to me.
Yeah, I agree. With that said, Zach, and let's see, did I finish the list? Yeah, Jeff Levy, 15, Mike Elko, 16, a couple of first-year head coaches.
Sure.
And making a shift, Mississippi State going to an offensive frame of mind, and Texas A&M going from whatever Jimbo was, I guess, an offensive frame of mind to a defensive one. So they're changing their identities a little bit. With that said, now that Texas and Oklahoma are officially in the SEC, which team takes its first loss this year? Texas or Oklahoma? Oklahoma's first 4, as we've kind of just went over, Temple, Houston, Tulane, Tennessee. Texas has Colorado State, at Michigan, and then Texas, San Antonio, and Louisiana Monroe.
I was wondering how you're going to get Michigan mentioned in this episode. You snuck it in right at the end there. Impressive. You didn't think I'd notice. We all saw it. We all saw it. Michigan superfan Brad Law.
Sure.
I mean, I think Texas probably loses at Michigan. So I guess Texas.
Okay. I think so too. I know that doesn't shock anybody.
And then I think Oklahoma loses to Tennessee.
You got them losing to Tennessee. I have Texas as a better record. I think we both
agreed.
Yeah. I'd be curious to know if anybody in the comments thinks Oklahoma will finish with a better record than Texas.
I think Texas may be my pick for number 2 in the SEC, just because I think their schedule's easier than Bama's is.
Yeah, I think a lot of projections will have Georgia and Texas in the SEC championship game.
Yeah, I've started thinking about this a little bit just because, like we said, this month is media days and we get to, vote on all that stuff. And right now, I got to look a little bit more and talk to some folks. But right now, I think I all offseason, I've had Georgia beating Bama in the SEC championship. I may have Georgia beating Texas in the SEC championship when it's all said and done. So we'll see.
If I give you the Texas and Oklahoma schedules, just shotgun style, win, loss, without really thinking, okay, off the top of your head. All right, you got Texas over Colorado State. You got them losing to Michigan.
Yep, which doesn't impact SEC standings.
Right. San Antonio's a win. Monroe is a win. Mississippi State and Austin?
Yeah, Texas
win. All right, Oklahoma and Dallas?
Texas.
Okay, that's 5. Georgia in Austin?
Georgia.
Okay, that's still 5. Vanderbilt and Nashville.
Texas wins the rest of their games.
Okay. All right. So they go 10-2.
Mm-hmm.
10-2. All right. Oklahoma. We've done this a little. Let's just kind of put this to bed. Temple.
Oklahoma.
Houston.
Oklahoma.
Tulane.
OU.
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Auburn.
OU.
Texas.
Texas.
You gave them that. South Carolina.
OU.
Ole Miss. In Oxford.
Ole Miss.
Maine. Missouri. In Columbia.
Probably Missouri.
Okay. Alabama. In Norman.
Alabama. Yep.
And LSU in Baton Rouge.
LSU.
Okay. 6 or 7 wins.
Right. It's a
There
tough
you go.
schedule. It's a tough
It
schedule.
is. You're right. You better, that line better develop.
Yeah. Quick. All right. That does it for today's show, Brad.
It does. Thanks, everybody, for watching and for subscribing and commenting. Remember, until next time, everybody has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.